What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another daily Manchester City transfer update. So before I do crack on with today's update, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Don't forget social media links there in the description as well. If you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok, email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's update. We're aiming for 300 likes, and do get your thoughts as well in the comments below. So we're going to crack on with the latest in news. We're going to shake it up and start with the ins today, because we've got the very latest on Lucas Paqueta. Now, Jorge Nicola over in Brazil, a journalist based in Brazil, is saying that Manchester City is still holding that interest in Lucas Paqueta from West Ham United. Now, he's soon to be later this month 28 years old, central midfielder from Brazil, non-homegrown, does have Premier League experience, obviously playing with West Ham United, and it's believed that West Ham are asking for around £50 million for the potential transfer to happen this summer. Now, Jorge Nicola has said that Manchester City want to offer West Ham a low amount plus Jack Grealish to make this signing happen. We know that Manchester City, when it comes to Jack Grealish's sale on a permanent transfer, know they're not going to get anywhere close to the £100 million that they paid for Jack Grealish, but would be looking for a good amount, which has been reported to be somewhere between 40 and 50 million pounds. So let's say we're looking here at the latter part of that number. Then with a bit of negotiations, I imagine that if City did genuinely want to make this transfer happen, then it would be a case that City swap Jack Grealish with Lucas Paqueta and pay what, 5 to 10 million pounds on top of including Jack Grealish on the transfer. Now, this deal for me goes against the philosophy that City would be looking for when it comes to potential incomings to the club, because Manchester City's philosophy is very much to focus now on the next generation of players, and other than Tijani Reinders and Omar Marmoush that comes to mind, everybody else who's 23 years old and younger, and that would be the kind of calibre of player that City would potentially be looking at when it comes to having another good look at central midfield. Now, we're in a position here where, because Lucas Paqueta is non-homegrown, it makes it very complicated for City. We've still got to move on the likes of our non-homegrown youngsters, including the likes of Claudio Echeverri's future that we need to get sorted, waiting for Vita Hayes to be made official by Girona as well. We're also needing some clarity and a confirmed move for Stefan Ortega, and then even after that, Manchester City is still going to have to move on a couple of first-team non-homegrown players to ensure that we're meeting all of the registrations when it comes to both the Premier League and the Champions League for our non-homegrown quota. So basically what it's going to take is for Lucas Paqueta to come in. You'd be replacing a homegrown player like Jack Grealish with a non-homegrown player. It means that two non-homegrown players would need to leave. They'd have to be central midfielders, because we're looking here at a central midfielder. So for this to logically make sense, it means two of Bernardo Silva, Nico Gonzalez, Gundogan and Mateo Kovacic would be leaving in this transfer window, which just simply isn't going to happen. Now, there is a strong possibility that by next summer, the likes of Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan, maybe even Mateo Kovacic, their futures could well lie away from Manchester City, in particular with Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan's contract being up. But these players, potentially when they leave City next summer, are going to be the openings for our high-quality young players that we've got currently either around our first team squad or players that are going on loan. And I'm thinking to myself, Bernardo Silva leaves and Gundogan leaves for free next summer. That's a registration for Claudio Echeverri and for Vita Hayes. Right there, we still need to sort out making sure we've got Premier League registration sorted for the likes of Savinho and Cody Husinov, who don't need to be registered either. So it's so complicated, and it goes against what City would be looking for in this window, that for me, as far as this report is concerned, I just can't see how Lucas Paqueta can join Manchester City this summer. Ludicrous as far as I'm concerned. Fantasy talk, it isn't going to happen. So, moving on to the out, we've got the very latest on Max Alleyne, and Fabrizio Romano confirmed later yesterday that Max Alleyne is going to sign a new contract with Manchester City in the next 24 hours. That announcement could still come today, and he's going to be heading heading down to Watford very soon to complete his medical there, sign his loan contract and become a Watford player on loan for the season. First though, it does need Max Alleyne to sign that new City contract, and I presume that there's going to be a potential delay on this announcement, as City would be looking for a joint announcement where new contract for Max Alleyne, and he's also heading on loan to Watford as well. I suspect Watford will want Max Alleyne available for their next game in the Championship, so they're going to be working hard when it comes to the registrations to get this transfer sorted by at the latest tomorrow. So that's one for me to keep my eyes and ears open for over the next 24 hours or so. Now moving on, we've got the latest on Claudio Echeverri, and Cesar Luis Merlo has confirmed that Manchester City have rejected a loan offer from AS Roma over the last 24 hours. A loan offer came in that was a 1-year loan contract with a mandatory obligation to buy worth 33 million euros or 28.65 million pounds in today's currency exchange rate, with Manchester City having a buyback included on that. We were reporting the other day that Roma are wanting to set that buyback clause at 40 million euros, which is 34.73 million pounds. This isn't the deal that City want or are looking for this summer, and the fact that City have rejected this tells me that any club that's including any purchase option, including an obligation to buy or an option to buy, City aren't going to contemplate it, because they regard Claudio Echeverri as a player who is very important to the Manchester City first team squad. So what we want to do instead is give him a straight loan, and Manchester City want him to go to Girona. Girona want to sign Claudio Echeverri. Sounds perfectly fine. Great, sorted, done. Off Claudio Echeverri goes, go and get plenty of minutes and come back stronger at Manchester City next season. But the complication here is Claudio Echeverri is not that keen on a loan move to Girona. He wants to be playing in a European big competition, including the Champions League or Europa League, and he wants that move to AS Roma on loan. And unless AS Roma give a straight loan with no purchase option, I don't think that's going to happen. I wouldn't rule out Lyon maybe making a move. We were speaking yesterday about there being some Premier League interest in a straight loan in Echeverri, so we'll see what does happen. But City rejected a loan bid today from AS Roma, where they could have got just under £29 million for Echeverri, and considering we spent, what was it, under £15 million to bring him in, could have been some nice profit there for City and the potential to bring him back to the club with a pretty cheap buyback clause, but City have said no. Anyway, moving on, we've got the latest on Jack Grealish, and the Daily Mail have said that Fenerbahce had put an offer forward to Jack Grealish's camp earlier this summer. That offer was knocked back by Jack and his camp, and he's not interested in a move to Turkey. There is some belief at Manchester City that other clubs are interested, but they're in the background and they've not yet declared their interest openly. And Manchester City feel like when clubs start to get desperate towards the end of the window and they've not got the business done that maybe they were looking for, that they're hoping that the race for Jack Grealish is going to hot up. And I wonder if Man City are just maybe giving a hint there towards Newcastle United, who haven't had a great transfer window and maybe want to bring in some high calibre, high quality depth into their squad, and this could certainly do a lot worse than Jack Grealish, and Newcastle would be able to get, well, not close, but would be able to get closer to Manchester City's asking price when it comes to his wages, because it has been confirmed that Manchester City are looking for all of his wages to be covered, that £300,000 a week. That's according to Alex Crook, which isn't going to happen because only a select few clubs can afford him, and then select few clubs aren't interested in signing Jack Grealish this summer. So I suspect that if any club wants to get near Jack Grealish's wage, then they're going to want to take the whole loan fee off, and they're also going to have to near enough break their wage structure to make it happen. And it means the likes of Napoli, West Ham, Everton, etc., they're going to struggle to sign Jack Grealish on loan unless something does give. So Manchester City being pretty stubborn, other clubs being stubborn when it comes to the wage, and you know what is going to happen, we will have to wait and see. Anyway, Fabrizio Romano has said in terms of Everton's interest, they're not interested in a purchase option. They want to go for a straight loan. They want most of Jack Grealish's wage covering by Manchester City, and going off Everton's wage structure, it looks like they'd be willing to pay 100, maybe at a stretch to near enough £150,000 a week. So you're looking at somewhere between 30 and 50% of Jack Grealish's wage being covered, and Manchester City, as I said, looking for 100% of that £300,000 a week wage to be covered. And yeah, complicated. Anyway, it has also been confirmed that Jack Grealish isn't expected to head to Manchester City's friendly with Palermo on Saturday. He was an unused substitution as Manchester City's pre-season game against Preston North End this week as well, as was James McAtee, and the reason behind that is Man City want rid of these players and they don't want to run the risk of these players picking up an injury, so they're going to make sure these players are fit and ready to join their new team, but they're not going to get that experience from pre-season in terms of getting regular competitive game minutes into their legs, because that's for their new club to sort rather than Manchester City. Now moving on, we've got the latest on Mateo Kovacic, and the Manchester Evening News have said that Kovacic is not expected to be sold by Manchester City this month, as he's seen as an important first team player at Manchester City, and he's seen as an important player for the next 12 months, so the plan is for him to stay at Manchester City and not sell him this summer, which if true obviously takes us down to the likes of the Ilkay Gundogan, Bernardo Silva and Nico Gonzalez as the first team options that could potentially leave Manchester City in this window. We do need at least one of them players to leave, because otherwise there's going to be a first team player who cannot be registered because we've got one too many non-homegrown players, not including obviously Vita Hayes, Claudio Echeverri, Zaveri Naipan and also Stefan Ortega Moreno. So yeah, they've got all that to sort, and apparently according to Fabrizio Romano, Kovacic has had some interest from Saudi Arabia this summer, but Kovacic has apparently said no to these advances, as he wanted to stay at Manchester City and focus on his recovery from his surgery and his injury, and he's fully thinking about the next 12 months. So it's looking like Kovacic is going to stay in City, are happy to keep Mateo Kovacic. Whether that stance changes between now and transfer deadline day, we will see. But if I'm being completely honest towards Kovacic, I'd be surprised if Kovacic was to leave this summer. I think he's more likely to leave next summer. Same with Manuel Akanji than they are in this window. I think very much, I'd be surprised if Bernardo Silva left due to him being the captain. So really it comes down to here Ilkay Gundogan and a potential move to Turkey. If that's not going to happen, Nico G could be quite concerned with his game time and could potentially look towards potentially leaving City in this transfer window, which I wouldn't rule out happening. I think it's a disaster and that definitely shouldn't happen, but there is definitely a possibility that that could happen. Now the final transfer I want to speak about, and I'm well aware of the rumours around James McAtee and the rumours of Nottingham Forest closing in on an agreement, but I don't have any official sources to put onto that rumour. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to mark that as just a rumour right now, with no solid legs in this transfer just yet. But if that stance does change over the coming 24 to 48 hours, which could well happen, then of course I'll bring you all the latest on James McAtee. But of course James McAtee, another player that City need to move on this summer. Obviously Nottingham Forest had that £25 million bid rejected by Manchester City, who are looking for over £40 million who want a sell-on fee including and a buyback clause as well. So if Nottingham Forest are close to agreeing a deal to bring him in, then obviously going in with a second offer could work and could pay dividends for Nottingham Forest. But as I said, waiting for more reliable, more solid info to come in on James McAtee, and as far as I'm concerned right now, it is a rumour. So if that does change, of course I will keep you up to date with my daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC, thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new around here. I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day here on YouTube with all the latest City transfer news, so do subscribe to my channel. It is free, less than 200 subs away from my goal of 46,000 subscribers, so any help towards that would be much appreciated, everybody. Also don't forget as well, social media links, they're in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's transfer update. We're aiming for 300 likes, and do get your thoughts as well in the comments below, and I'll see you all again real soon for the next one, religiously tomorrow for the next daily City transfer update. So I've been JSGC, thank you everyone for watching, hope everyone is safe and well, peace, ciao for now.